Morning traders, and this is your Dow Jones day trade setup for today. So last week we were starting with the weekly chart, but last week we ended up with a indecision bar, pretty much at a fairly strong level, or should I say a very strong level, and that's pretty much where we are at the moment. We've got, if you look at all the tails round about this area, you can see they're not exact, so it's quite a big buffer or zone that we should be looking at. So if I have to put the two levels in that I'm really interested in, it would be this swing low, these 2 week swing low here. You can see both times here we tried to get to it. Okay, now if I just expand that view a little bit more, you'll see we have a potential triple top, but obviously we need to break well below this level here for that triple top to come to play. The weekly still, week before last we had a massive rally, then we've had this indecision, and we've now just started with a bit of a gap open. Okay, so if I look at the context of what's happening on the charts, to me this is pretty much still a much bigger range. So pretty much most of last year and most of this year at the moment has been stuck in the same range. The big question now is what happens here. Okay, do we break above the high of last week? Or do we stay in this range until we get a decision, or do we start drifting lower? I mean, that's pretty much what we're looking for at the moment. If you look at the daily, okay, let's move this to the middle for you. So I'm going to just readjust these because that's the high of the week, that's the low of the week. So that's pretty much where we are. So, the long entry was pretty much here, which worked for 3 days. And I've taken profit again, really just looking to the left. I see a lot of congestion to the left here. And it's going to take a lot for price to break through. The other thing that's bugging me at the moment is we've got another grouping of the oscillators on the daily. And no diversions, but lots of indecision, lots of tails. So for me, what happens now is we drill down to lower time frames and look for our entry there. Okay, so now you can see the whole of last week's range, there it is. But what you could also argue is that we do have a sort of a topping pattern here. You've got an inverse head and shoulders. There's a shoulder, head, shoulder, and we're at the neckline. Okay, I think for me this is just a range. So I'd be looking for a short entry a little bit higher up, but because the overall trend is up, and I define that by looking left, and you can see there's a good uptrend, consolidation phase, and if you look at the moving averages, we are trending to the upside. So because we're trending up, I'm not really interested in doing the shorts. Wait for a pullback, get back in long. Okay, so what are the levels we'll be looking for? So the very first level that I'd be interested in is going to be, I'm going to use this bottom one here. So it's definitely going to be these fractals here. Okay, so that level is 26160, but there is also a gap, and I'd like to see that gap. Now, if you look at the oscillators on the hour at the moment, this is telling me look for a better entry lower down. Don't try and short, don't try to go long at the top here. Okay, there is looking like a bit of a reversal coming, and I would expect more than likely the gap to close. Okay, alternatively, look at a Fibonacci pullback of this climb here. But one thing you need to bear in mind is that we have pretty much broken these fractals here, so we've broken to a new high. And normally what you'd be doing is you'd be waiting for a retest of this break. Okay, and in actual fact, just move it up, it'll be this break here, a retest of this break, and then another entry long, and off we go. Okay, you can see if we drill down to the 12, you'll see trend is up currently. Okay, there was a bit of consolidation on Friday, and I'm going to put a block in for this because this was a nice sneaky little trade I left in over the weekend, which was, you could see this consolidation, look at the moving averages, get through the 200 moving averages here. Our entry was up here, stop below here, and what you're looking for is 107 point trade. And you can see that's exactly what transpired. Okay, so for now, still looking for a long entry, but really looking for a bit of a deeper pullback. Whatever that pullback may be. We may just consolidate. We may just form a wedge here and then pull back. So in other words, form a wedge onto this level here. But you just need to take cognizance of this gap. Okay, so being a Monday, we could just drift lower onto this area. We could drift even lower down to the gap, or even come and test this breakout that we had here. Okay, so that's kind of what I'm looking for. Looking for a pullback. Be watching price action on 26,166 and 26,123, or even as deep as 26,092. Those are the pullbacks I'm waiting for. May not happen, and I think if you just look at this, you'll see I have, there's my trend line. Quite. There's my one trend line. There's my next trend line. Okay, so that's more a parabolic curve, so you can see it's not following this trend, it's moving steeper and steeper and steeper, which is also another indication that you'd expect some kind of a pullback. Okay, anyway, that's my view at the moment. Looking for a little bit of a pullback before I get in, not looking to get in with the charts looking like this, not with the oscillators looking like this anyway. So looking for my pullback. That's my first area, which seems to be the most logical area right now. Okay, but then we do have a gap here. One thing to bear in mind, your stop is pretty much below the previous swing low on the hour, which is all the way down here. Okay, so that's 25,992. That's my stop area. So obviously I'd like to have a much deeper pullback before getting in long again. Okay, and the last thing to point out on this is what we may do is get a pullback, form a sort of a new low, and then form a base, and then start rallying, and that's going to be my entry. Okay, whether it's here at 26,160 or at this gap close, or at the most logical pullback, which is right over here at, let's just say 26,100, and that's more than likely a Fibonacci as well. Yeah, it's a 50% pullback of this move, which makes quite a bit of sense. Okay, so those are levels I'm looking at. Alternatively, if we don't get any of those levels, well, I doubt we won't get any of them. I think we'll at least get this one. Just watch sort of the 30-minute charts, and you can see already there's a bit of a wedge forming here, so we may not even get it. We may just consolidate onto this first level and then pull away. Okay. Now for stops as well, what you could also do is just use the parabolic SAR, which is these little green dots here, and you just move your stop below one of the dots, or the latest dot. And every time the market moves up, just move your stop below that dot, and that'll keep you in with the trend. Problem with it is it's normally quite far from where price is. So sometimes what I like to do if I'm coming up to a level is use a lower time frame, something like a 12 or a 15-minute time frame, and keep my stop below it. If I'd done that, I'd be stopped out already. Okay, anyway guys, that's it for me today. Hope it helps, and yeah, long it is. Just wait for a decent pullback and then back in long. Anyway, enjoy the day. Catch you later. Cheers for now.